Welcome to this detailed demonstration about the Thesis Submission eForm and the Thesis Distribution and Examination eForm. This video will demonstrate the processes involved in both of these eForms from the point of view of the HDR Examinations Office. Note that for clarity, the Thesis Distribution eForm will be referred to as the Examination eForm. The eForm workflow is shown here. The candidate will initiate the Thesis Submission eForm, which will then be sent to the Examinations Office. The Thesis Submission eForm is kept in a wait and check state until the examination is completed. During this time, an Examination eForm is created for each of the examiners by the Examinations Office. Once all examiners have completed their reports and have returned the Examination eForm, the Thesis Submission eForm is sent to the Delegated Authority and then the Associate Dean to determine the outcome of the examination. It is then returned to the Examinations Office to update the student administration system and advise the candidate of the result. We will start by looking at the wait and check state of the eForm. The first few pages of the eForm are common across all the milestone types. The introduction page shows the details on the current eForm. The student details page shows the candidate's contact and citizenship details. The candidature details page shows the candidate's program and scholarship details, information on submission dates, and thesis details. It also shows individuals within the candidate's supervisory panel. On the processing page, you can review the status of each of the examiners that you have recorded in the student administration system. This state is to be completed only after all examiner statuses are complete or withdrawn. Before submitting this state, we'll next look at initiating and completing the Examination eForm. For each examiner taking part in the Thesis Examination, a new Thesis Distribution and Examination eForm must be initiated. Once the eForm has been set up, it will be sent to the examiner using their campus email address registered in the student administration system. The examiner may have to agree to a non-disclosure agreement if thesis access restrictions are in place. The examiner may also declare a conflict of interest which requires approval from the Associate Dean before they are able to examine the thesis. Whether the examiner report is complete or the examiner is withdrawn, the eForm will be returned to the Examinations Office for processing. On the first page of the eForm, enter the candidate's university ID to bring back their program details and detail of the examiners. From the drop-down list, select one examiner to send the eForm to. You cannot select an examiner with a sent or withdrawn status. If you have sent an eForm for this candidate to a particular examiner in the list, you need to manually update their status to sent in the student administration system. On this page, first enter a due date for the examiner reports. Note that this extended due date for the report is an additional 1 month. This due date may be further extended through a utility eForm. Please enter a payment amount for the examiner. This is pre-populated with a default value based on whether the candidate is completing a PhD or MPhil. The thesis files, as will be seen by the examiners, are in the DSpace Thesis repository. These may be downloaded by clicking on the title or the magnifying glass. A summary of the thesis access restrictions is visible where applicable. In the text area, please note any physical items which the examiner will need to examine as part of the thesis. The final page provides a summary of the examination initiation. Before submitting the eForm, make sure that you've updated the candidate's record in SAS and completed the payment details. You may submit once this is complete to send the eForm to the examiner. The examiner will receive an email with login details and a link to the eForm. Once the examiner has completed their recommendations, the eForm is returned to the Examinations Office for processing. You will receive an email notification prompting you to continue the eForm. The processing page is the introductory page to the state of the eForm. It shows the candidate, examiner, and thesis details. The payment page is where you enter general ledger code details for payment to the examiner. If the examiner has emailed you an invoice, please upload it here. The lookup table of general ledger codes is available sorted by college. To find a code, first select the tab for the correct college and then find the code based on the academic area. You can then enter the code using the drop-down list and text areas. The summary page shows the outcome recommended by the examiner. Please update the examiner panel in SAS with this recommendation. If the examiner has nominated the candidate for the J.G. Crawford Prize, this will be indicated here. Once SAS has been updated, click the checkbox to verify that the grade recommendation is correct. Once this has been completed, you may tick the declaration checkbox and submit the eForm. Once all the examination eForms are complete, we can return to the Thesis Submission eForm to complete the wait and check state. On the processing page, double-check that the status of all examiners is either set to complete or withdrawn. Also double-check the examiner reports are uploaded correctly and any information identifying the examiner is removed. Once this is complete, submit the eForm to send it to the delegated authority to make a recommendation on the outcome. The delegated authority may request additional examination, with approval from the Associate Dean. In this case, the eForm will be returned to you with this recommendation and you are required to facilitate the additional examination. The introduction page will give you information on the outcome selected by the Associate Dean. You will also see the recommendation by the delegated authority. The candidature details page are the same as in previous states. On the processing page, you are required to download and re-upload the candidate versions of the examiner reports so that the primary supervisor and candidate can view them. Download the reports using the link and upload them using the Upload New button. At this point, you must make sure that the evaluator panels are fully updated in the student administration system. There is a checkbox confirming you have updated SAS to reflect the outcome. The next state depends on the outcome decided by the Associate Dean. If the outcome is a pass, the eForm is sent to the library to finalize the thesis for distribution. If the candidate is required to resubmit their thesis for examination, the eForm will also be sent to the candidate to decide how they would like to proceed. If the candidate agrees to resubmit their thesis for examination, a new notification of intent to submit milestone will be generated. The eForm will be returned to you for processing. If the candidate is required to make corrections to their thesis, the eForm will be sent to the candidate who will decide whether they wish to submit a corrected thesis or not. If the candidate agrees to submit with corrections, a corrections milestone will be generated. If the candidate refuses to resubmit or provide corrections, the eForm will return to you for processing. If the candidate has failed, the eForm process is complete and they will be notified. After the candidate has made a decision on the outcome, the eForm will be returned to you to record this decision in the student administration system. Once you have made these updates, tick the checkbox and complete the eForm. Thank you for your interest in the thesis and examination improvements to the HDR student eForms. Further information regarding the Thesis and Examination project can be found under HDR Administrative Support. You can find this by visiting the Service Improvement Group webpage, go to Project Management and search for HDR Administrative Support. If you have any suggestions for further functionality, improvements, or would like to provide feedback regarding eForms or the support video, please visit the Service Improvement Group webpage where you can submit a short feedback eForm.